Poll number 8, and this time looks like we have difference of opinion. Let's explore about this particular question first. So while leading an adaptive lifecycle project, your definition of done excludes fixing of defects that are not of priority 1. Okay. Consequently, a considerable number of defects are accumulated in your product backlog. Why, with the upcoming releases, you regard this as a risk since priority 2 and priority 3 defects also needs to be resolved. What is your most appropriate action to take in this scenario? So we can fairly assume that there are multiple iterations, and at the end of multiple iterations, we will make release. As of now, the team is following definition of done, where they are only fixing priority 1 defects, and priority 2 and priority 3 defects are getting accumulated. There are many which are coming in. And as a project manager, you are worried because team members will keep marking done, 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 done. And at the end, you have so many defects. And as per the current release understanding, the priority 2 and priority 3 defects also needs to be fixed before we make the release. We don't know how many sprints/iterations are still left in the release, but this much information is pretty much coming from the question. Let's look at the option. Ask the team to dedicate the coming iterations to fix the defects. It could be the case, but we don't know, and we don't know where we are. If I'm in the final iteration, probably I do that. So we don't know exactly how many stories are still pending or how many defects are pending, but directly concluding that I will tell the team to fix all the defects before they move forward, a little bit too much. Yeah. Option 2, share your concerns about the defect analysis in the retrospective meeting. Looks like a great idea. Since there were like many iterations which were passed by, there are more iterations which will come. You need to find out what is the best mechanism of dealing with these defects. Maybe you need to improve definition of done. Maybe you need to start allocating some amount of fixed capacity per iteration to fix the defects, the pending defects, and ensuring the new defects are not accumulating. So you may do both. You may fix the current definition of done and ensure that the past defects are taken care and future defects are not accumulated. We don't know, or we may have a negotiation with the stakeholder and we may understand that maybe priority 3 defects are not necessarily need to be fixed before we make release. We don't know. But overall, I have an observation and I want to make the reflection on this observation. I definitely can present this information in a best possible way so the team can reflect on it in a retrospective meeting. Retrospective meeting, product owner is also present, and we can talk and we can figure it out how should we take care of this particular situation well. So from my perspective, this is the great option, but I understand many of you have chosen the other option. So let's explore. The C, change the definition of done to include defect fixing. A great idea, but what about the defects which are already accumulated? Yeah, so we need to fix them as well. Second, yeah, there could be some other alternate approach as well. Probably the product owner may agree to not to have this. So it might be a better idea to look at the conversation and the total picture rather than directly concluding to that I need to fix the definition of done. And definitely this option is not taking care of the current pending defects which we have in our backlog. Estimate the size of the defects and plan to their resolution before the release. Now, you are not the one who is going to estimate. You are not the one who is going to plan for it. As we understand in the adaptive life cycle, you need to ensure the team estimates these defects. So I can do an analysis of defects. I can talk about quantity. I can talk about rate. And if these defects are not yet estimated, I can make sure I point out to the team so that they estimate. So we estimate, quantify, and then we need to plan how do we want to deal with it. Definitely, we want to deal with it before the release of the product, especially if there is no negotiation happening in the definition of release. We need to do that, but I can't do that. So option D is great. The only problem is, as a project manager, I can't do this. I need to involve the team. And in order to involve the team, right now, we are in the mid of the sprint. The retrospective is a great place. We talk about it. We change our future direction so that going forward, we can take care of option D with the help of team rather than I drive this alone. So overall, the C and D looks like great ideas, but it cannot be done by the project manager alone. And we need to include the opinion and the perspective from the team and the product owner before we can take the final call. So option B from my side, that's what I thought when I was creating this particular question. I do see there are the option B, which is in my view is the right option, is getting relatively less vote. And I do see the C and D were getting lots of votes. So again, my reminder is don't jump to the conclusion of fixing the issue. We need to engage the team, especially in the adaptive way of working. And my role as a project manager is to facilitate and create a reflection rather than drive the solution myself.